Hi, I'm Brendan Homan, coming to you from Toowoomba, the capital city of the world. If you've ever been looking at units, you would have come across the term strata or body corporate fees. So I just thought I'd touch base on just what those are, because as an agent, usually I am asked what are the fees, but I'm very seldom asked just what does that include exactly. But to understand strata levies, it's first important to understand exactly what a strata scheme does. Each owner owns a portion of a major building, which is called a lot. But there's also common property, things like driveways, gardens, you might have swimming pools, and ownership of the common property is shared amongst all of the owners. The main difference between owning a lot in a strata scheme is the external elements. That's the external walls, roof and floor. They are generally not owned by the individual, but are considered common property, and therefore generally maintenance of those items is also the responsibility of the strata scheme. Whereas when you own a home, you are 100% responsible for all maintenance, all expenses related to the property. Now, owners who are part of a strata scheme pay what's called strata levies, and that levy is split into two different funds. You've got the first fund, which is what's called the administrative fund, and that includes all your basically day-to-day expenses which may come up over the year. Things like building insurance, you might have electricity if there's electric gate, or cleaning expenses, gardening expenses. They also larger complexes that are quite often managed by what's called a strata manager, so obviously there is some fees involved for them as well. Now the other fund you have is what's called the sinking fund, and that is to budget for long-term capital expenditure. Over time, you may wish to budget to repaint the external of the building, say every 10 years. You might say every 50 years, we're going to have to budget to replace the roof. Every 15 years, you might want to redo all of the gardens. Now it's important when you're looking at what the sinking fund is, to also look at how well the body corporate is operated, because they essentially make it very easy for the unit owner. And that's the reason why units are so popular, because a lot of that external maintenance is looked after by someone else. So sometimes where you've got a slightly higher fee, look at the complex. Are the gardens very, very tidy? Everything really well maintained and look top notch? Because ultimately, that's better for your investment or investing into that complex versus one where perhaps the fees were a little bit less, but they hardly touch the gardens. The place looks a little bit more tired and run down. And I'll quickly just touch on some personal experience of a strata scheme I'm involved with. It's a unit complex, probably about 30 years old, and starting to get very, very tired. Run down. Some of them in there are holiday rentals, but very cheap and not used as often. Anyway, we had a very, very healthy sinking fund in there. The long-term maintenance over 30 years had built up to quite a level. So it was voted on by everybody that, hey, let's revamp the whole building. And that included a massive refurbishment of the swimming pools. We painted the outside of the building, and we refurbished the entry foyer and each of the foyer levels. And that building now looks virtually brand new. Now there's no special extra expenses or anything to any owners to do those improvements, because the sinking fund had built up over a number of years. And of course, every owner in that building has just seen an increase in the value of their units, because the whole building is so much more attractive now. So when you are looking at what sinking funds are, just keep in mind that if they're slightly higher but the complex is really well maintained and looks nice and neat and tidy, then it's not necessarily a bad thing and may in fact save you money over the long term. Happy to talk to you more on this subject or any other in real estate. Of course, I'm Brendan Homan from Remax Property Shop. Have a great day.